Welcome to Diamond Niners Weekly. It is Wednesday night, and we are talking 49er baseball live from the Haze. This is Nick. I'm joined, as always, by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad's over there making it all happen.
Hey.
He's even got a microphone this week. All right, folks, we're going to jump right in here, but as a reminder, before we get started, feel free to jump in on the chat on YouTube or hit us up on Twitter. Questions, comments, feel free to chime in. Heck, we'll do shout-outs. So let us know. Big week of stuff going on. Kevin, why don't we jump right in with our weekly reminders?
All right, yeah, it's getting close. This week, Friday night, playing uptown at Truist Field. Is it Field or Truist Park?
Truist, where the Knights play.
I know the Braves play at one and the Knights play at another, so one of the Truists. But the one the Knights play at, we're playing there Friday. Go get your tickets to that game through the Knights website. Also playing Davidson there on the 23rd. Go ahead and get your tickets for that. Playing at Atrium Health Ballpark against Campbell on the 22nd. Tickets are on sale for that. Go to the Cannonballers website. And if you want to come to the Haze, single game tickets are on sale.
And you do want to come to the Haze.
10-game flex packages are on sale. So just go to charlotte49ers.com, get your tickets, and come see these guys play.
All right, so about Friday night, the earlier this week, the weather forecast for Friday night did not look good. It now looks much better. So Friday night's looking good. Saturday is a whole different story, but Friday night looks like we're going to be ready for some baseball in Uptown Charlotte. So big, beautiful back. It's like, I don't know, it's probably the second best backdrop for a baseball stadium, in the city of Charlotte, I would say.
That's right.
So be ready, get out there, folks, and get ready to cheer on the Niners against who are we playing? Who are we playing on Friday?
Appalachian State.
Never heard of them. All right, so only slightly kidding. All right, we're going to go with our player guest here. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. We appreciate all the great comments you guys have given us about the player segment here. We love getting these guys in front of you, so we're trying to rotate a new player in every week. And this week, we are excited to be joined by a graduate transfer from all the way from Hempstead, North Carolina, first baseman Josh Madole. What's up, Josh?
What's going on, guys? How we doing? Thanks for having me.
Are you excited about this?
I am, yeah.
Is it a little nerve-wracking, a little bit?
Slightly.
Okay. How many people did you tell that you were going to be on tonight?
I told my family.
You tell your family.
Yeah,
Okay,
a couple
so
friends.
So see, our viewership's going up as we speak, Kevin.
That's right. That's how you do it.
All right. So let's just talk a little baseball, Josh. Let's talk about kind of your path and your journey. You went Topsail High School, coming out of there. So I got to ask, you grew up there? You grew up at the beach?
I'm actually from Southern California.
Okay,
Born and raised there at Irvine, California.
Irvine.
All right, so there you go. How do you get from Irvine, California to Topsail High School?
So my dad's a PT. Knew a guy that started a business out here, in Jacksonville area, which is pretty close to Wilmington. So, he got a job. He felt like God was calling him to go there. So, packed up, moved across the country, drove across the country. That was fun.
Like U-Haul?
Yeah, basically. We had a truck behind us, packed up in the Suburban, and drove across the country. I thought it was a vacation for a hot sec. And then when we showed up in North Carolina, we realized, we're staying here. So, it's fun stuff.
What's that, like 2 days, 3 days?
I think we stretched it out to a week. It was a good time. We stopped at the Grand Canyon, all the major stops.
That's a good trip.
Yeah, so it was a ton of fun.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, so then, grew up in the Hampstead area, went to Topsail High School, and here I am now.
Okay, so you were a SoCal guy, and then you get here to the East Coast, and you're still a coastal guy here. So is that Wilmington's not exactly SoCal, so culture shock or
a lot of culture shock, a lot of forest, a lot of trees compared to a concrete jungle. So it took a couple years, but I actually really enjoy it. So I like North Carolina.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So you finish out your high school career there at Topsail, playing baseball there, and you wind up going to UNCG.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about that process, and what that was like coming out of high school, the recruitment process, and your decision to go to UNC Greensboro, and just kind of walk us through that.
All right. I mean, obviously, high school, you got the dream to play at a Division I level, and I was fortunate enough to get that opportunity at Greensboro, and I felt like I was in a good position, and God called me to go there, so I took that opportunity. Spent 4 pretty good years there. Very blessed to play 4 years there, and then it was time for me to further my education and as well as further my baseball career, and I felt that I'd played my time at Greensboro, and it was time to move on.
Now, you bring up something, we always get around to this, but you brought up education, because we always try to highlight you guys because you are student athletes. So what did you study while at Greensboro?
I studied kinesiology.
Okay, so kinesiology, and you're continuing that on here at Charlotte.
I'm getting my master's in the kinesiology program here.
Okay. So the professor's name, I'm gonna oh geez, the guy that threw out the first pitch on Friday. Did you know him that was dressed out in the?
I did not.
No, okay. He's a kinesiology professor. I'll effort that. I messed up. We tweeted pictures of that. He was dressed out in the old school uniform.
He's a big baseball collector.
Bartow, Professor Bartow. There you go.
That was impressive. The whole outfit.
Yeah, he's in the kinesiology department.
Is he? Okay. I haven't had him yet. So.
And you probably will. And he teaches the history of baseball class here. Professor
really?
Bartow does.
Okay.
And he threw from the mound. You noticed that?
I did.
Some people don't throw from the mound.
Most people don't throw from the mound, and there's a reason for that, and we demonstrated that reason.
You guys did great.
Thank you.
Well, we found some leather. That's all we're saying. Okay, so you said that you felt like it was time to kind of stretch out and expand your horizons, and you wind up here in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that. How does Josh Madole? He's wrapping up his degree at UNC Greensboro. He's played varsity or played D1 baseball in Greensboro for 4 years. How does he wind up in Charlotte playing as a grad transfer? How does that happen?
I mean, it's really just a credit to the coaches here for giving me that opportunity. The transfer portal is definitely a new experience for me, as is probably for a lot of guys.
Yeah, everybody, right?
Yeah, with the COVID year and everything. But, yeah, I mean, once you put your name in the portal, you're kind of putting yourself out there. You reach out to people that you know and the connections that you've built. And lucky for me, when we played Charlotte the past year, I actually got to talk to Coach Bick a lot on first base.
At first base, yeah.
So he gave me a call, and I remembered who he was, and things kind of just clicked, and I went on a visit here, and from the moment I stepped on campus, I knew that this is where I wanted to come.
So we asked Austin Knight. He was in the portal also, so he was recruited twice. We asked him which was more nerve-wracking, the recruiting process as a high school student or the recruiting process as a transfer portal student.
That's tough.
Well, he was recruited during COVID, so there was no visits or anything.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a little difficult. Well, lucky for me, I had visits, but I'd probably say high school was a lot more nerve-wracking just because I was young and had a lot of nerves. But this time around, I kind of felt like I proved myself and that I could play at the Division I level. Right. So, I mean, I was just kind of looking for the right fit for me.
Right, and you were a 4-year starter at Greensboro. What's that like coming into a locker room full of a lot of younger? I guess you're one of the veteran position players on the team.
Yeah.
What's that like coming into a locker room and kind of being one of the guys that people look up to immediately?
I'm going to be honest, it was weird at first because, I mean, obviously I am older, but, like, the younger guys know how everything works here and how everything clicks. So at first you just got to take a step back, listen as much as you can, kind of learn how the flow of things go and kind of move on from there.
You're a veteran and a rookie all at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, it's weird. So
that's a different deal. So, as you transition in here and you're getting over all of that new guy stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's safe to say, I mean, my observation is you've been able to not only come in here and kind of establish yourself on the team, but I mean, it really looks like you're one of the leaders out there. I mean, do you think that's fair?
I mean, that's up to the guys, not to me. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the most vocal guy, but I'd like to say I lead by example
Sure.
if I have a leadership role. But
Sure.
I mean, I just try day in and day out, do the right things, and kind of let the play speak for itself.
Well, and the play does speak for itself because you're off to one heck of a start. Now you missed the first couple weeks of the season, kind of getting over some injury issues, but you're back on the field now. Talk about your we call you an on base guy. You find ways to get on base. Talk about your plate approach and how you develop that and where that comes from, because we have a really we talk about this lineup being really patient this year, really from top to bottom. But in a patient lineup, you're even one of the more patient guys, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. I think it's fair to say. I mean, I have an approach at the plate that has accumulated over the years of many failures along the way and kind of developed into the player that I am. And I have a lot of coaches and mentors to thank for that. So, I mean, I feel like I've done my best to kind of pick up knowledge from whether it's an older player, coach, anything like that I can kind of pick up along the way and kind of figure out the right approach. So that's nice to know you guys think I'm patient. And
well, look, we just report what we see, right, Kevin?
Right, that's right. I mean, you got OBP 636 already, 467 average. It's a pretty good start for this weekend. And we saw you quite a bit this fall as well, so we've seen a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
hopefully more to come, right?
Yeah, no, we're excited to see more to come, offensively and on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, Friday night at your first start as a 49er, you made one of the biggest plays of the game, really, I think. I guess it was seventh inning.
Seventh inning, yeah.
Seventh inning, we had a one-run lead, bases loaded, infield in, balls hit to your right, I guess, glove side, and you make a heck of a play. You moved, I don't know, you're somewhere between first and second, pivot, make a throw a strike to home plate, get the out, preserves the one-run lead for us. Talk about that play a little bit and kind of your defensive approach, I guess you'd say.
That play, I mean, that's not really all on me. Colby made a nice pitch, got the guy to do exactly what we wanted. Coaches put us in infield put us in a spot to make a play, so I was just happy I executed.
Well, you definitely executed. That was a
yes,
that was a perfect strike to the plate, and it was crucial at the time. And he kind of happened so quickly that I was like, wow. We were kind of expecting to play it first, but you got to it and made a play at home.
I really did. I thought you were getting ready to. We were basically going to concede and go for first base and get the out, and then figure it out after that.
Yeah.
You were thinking home plate the whole time,
Yeah.
weren't you?
When Coach called us in,
You're like, oh, we're going home the whole
we're going.
time, man. And that, because we're sitting in the stands. I'm a novice. Kevin's not. Whatever's above novice, you're that.
Barely above novice.
Barely above novice.
experienced.
He's experienced. As we've documented, it's well documented on this show that Kevin's baseball career lasted way longer than mine. I was thinking you're going to first, and then when you reared back, I'm like, wait a minute, what's he? And then I realized, like, holy crap! And you just made a fantastic throw. I mean, it was.
I appreciate that.
That was key play. I mean, it ended up being.
It's one run. It kept the one-run lead. They ended up tying that inning, but they could have got a lot more. Picked up the second out there, and then we were able to move the infield back and make a play the next batter. So, crucial play for the weekend. And then from there, the weekend turned violent, I guess you'd say. we 29 runs
in a very nice way.
Yes, in a nice way.
Good violence, yeah.
29 runs on Saturday, and then 16 on Sunday.
Yeah, run ruled them on Sunday. What about talking about your game? You had a pretty nice ball yesterday. That was you got into that. I can't remember what the stats on the distance on that one was, but you put a pretty good swing on that ball yesterday that you put out in right field.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, that had to feel good, right?
That felt really good. I'm not gonna lie, that did feel really good.
So we ask everybody. So guys are hitting dingers, and you got the golden gloves, right? So it was your first time to get to put the golden gloves on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty big moment, right?
Yeah.
I mean, did you get your picture made with the golden gloves on, or
I think it's probably somewhere.
probably somewhere?
I'm gonna need to find it, but yeah, that was a special moment.
Well, you know what you can do. We were just talking about this before it came on the air. So those of you that follow us, we do, we're social media, but we're primarily a Twitter platform. I mean, especially during games. Josh is not on Twitter, but we've I think we're maybe talking you into it so that we can we might.
I hope not.
Well, he doesn't have to start. You don't have to start talking about anything you don't want to. That's the thing on social media is people don't realize this, but you don't have to comment on things on social media. You don't.
You can just read things.
You can just read. And some people don't know that you can do that. They think they have to comment on everything they read. But anyway, neither here nor there. If you get that photo, that could be your first profile pic.
It could. Do you post pictures on Twitter?
Do we?
Yeah.
Well, oh yeah, pictures, video. I mean, well, to start last season, we were videoing like every AB and anything that right because there was no video.
I just thought that Instagram was the one where you post all the pictures and videos and that kind of stuff.
That is the better platform for photos and
Yeah.
stuff.
We put video and pictures on Twitter. It worked. It's good. We have Instagram, but Kevin handles the Instagram.
Okay.
Whenever we go on the road, you'll see this later in the season. When I go on the road, my daughter travels with me a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got a 16-year-old daughter, and she's like our Instagram intern.
She's an expert.
Yes, she helps us out a lot.
Good.
She's a teenage girl. What do you think?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think she knows anything about social media? So, yeah, we do that. The only thing, and I always remind people this in the show every week, the only thing we don't do is TikTok because no.
I did just make an Instagram, though.
Yeah.
You're on Instagram now?
I am, yeah. I follow the Charlotte baseball page.
There you go.
So we've got to follow Josh on Instagram after this.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll talk afterwards. We'll see. Right. Maybe Twitter is something. I will say this: Twitter is good for base. There's a lot of baseball Twitter, as far as just people out there and that kind of thing. So, I mean, Coach Simmons is on Twitter.
I'll think about it.
We'll
Not a very social guy, so.
No, it's in the end you're probably better off. But hey, if you join Twitter, we'll tag you.
All right.
So, anyway, another play I wanted to bring up yesterday. I'm not going to remember the inning, but you took a laser beam over there at first. You guys kind of had the shift on. You were close to the right field line. Do you remember the play I'm talking about? You handled like a laser beam shot, and you just made it look so routine. I thought, oh my gosh, that's down the line, and you just scooped it up. Do you remember this play?
I think so.
Yeah,
The guy hit it pretty hard. Yeah.
Well, it was a lefty batter. He hit it right down.
Yeah.
He hit it
I know
right
what
down
you're
the
talking
line.
about.
Hit it
Yeah.
right at you,
Yeah.
and you handled it. Not everybody would have handled that, Josh. That was a good defensive play. It was impressive.
I appreciate that. Once again, the coaches are putting me in the right spots. They know the hitters. They do their homework. So
That's true. I mean, the shift did work. I don't remember this. Tell me, how much did you guys shift at UNC Greensboro? I don't remember. I know we played them several times, but I don't remember how much you did.
We did it quite often.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people do their homework, but I'd say we definitely do shifts more to an extreme factor here, and it usually pans out for the better.
Okay, so at Greensboro, you never went. What's the furthest away? Here's how I want to word this. What's the furthest away from first base you got shifting at UNC Greensboro versus here?
I don't know. It's more based off the middle guys. Second baseman usually would be a couple steps to the right, maybe behind second base. But here we'll send Firm all the way over, which I actually really like because the whole right side of the infield's mine. Yeah. So anything hit on the ground.
So Firm's not in your way.
Yeah, anything hit on the ground I can go for.
Yeah. Well, we've heard Woody. He's talked about your glove quite a bit on our show. He said if he had to, you'd be the only left-handed player he'd put on the left side over there. How do you think you'd do playing third base?
Put me at shortstop.
Shortstop?
I'd love to do
Shortstop.
that.
I think you can handle it after seeing you for this past week playing. I think you could definitely handle shortstop.
I think that'd be fun, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to. Oh,
Yeah, I actually grew up playing shortstop
Did you
until
really?
they told me in high school, no,
Lefties
lefties
don't
can't
play
play
shortstop?
there. And I was like, what?
yeah,
But-
yeah.
So you got all the way. How old were you? What grade were you in when you made that transition from shortstop to first? Did you get all the way through high school?
Yeah, in high school I made that transition. Our middle school coach actually yelled at me because we were doing double play footwork. And he was like, swipe the bag with your right foot. And I'd swipe it with my left foot because everything's opposite. And he yelled at me. He's like, why are you swiping with your left foot? And I was like, I'm left-handed. And he goes, oh. Like, he didn't know that. So I was like, yeah, sorry about that. So then they told me I couldn't play in high school. So I went to center field. And then the varsity coach came up to me. He's like, hey, you got a good glove. Come play first base. I was like, all right. I'd played first every now and then because I'd play with my older brother growing up, and he was a better shortstop than I was, so I just line up on first base and catch his throws. So I had a little bit of experience.
Yeah, most times the lefties either get put at first, outfield, or
Yep.
pitchers.
Yep, exactly.
Nick gets mad at me for talking to the guests before the show starts, so I'll bring back up something we were talking about.
Now look, let me just defend myself. Forget this. Okay, folks, I'm on your side because Kevin every week gets the player guest in here before we're on the air and starts talking about some really good stuff, and I'm like, I have to step in. I mean, there was with Firm, it was terrible, man. You guys had this fantastic conversation that we didn't get any video on, or no audio, nothing. So I'm just trying to protect the listeners. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
So go ahead.
Well, Josh and I were talking about the game in Greensboro last year when he was introduced to Jackson Boss. You want to tell that story a little bit?
Yeah, so obviously we played Charlotte last year. Had a pretty good game.
It was cold.
It was freezing.
That's what I remember about that game.
Yeah,
It
that
cold.
was miserable. And I remember coming here, and I met Jackson Boss for the first time, and I was like, introduced myself. Hey, what's going on? He goes, what's going on? I'm Jackson. Pretty sure I hit you last year.
Is that true?
Yeah. I was like,
Yes.
nice to meet you, man.
It's funny that he would remember that. It was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I hit you. Where'd he hit you at?
Oh, I have no clue.
So it must have not been that bad if you don't remember where you got hit at, right?
It was probably so cold it
Yeah.
didn't feel it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It was bad. It was cold. It was windy.
Yeah.
Remember that? That was bad. So did you wear? Just random question. Did you wear 23 at Greensboro?
I did not know. I wore number 6.
Okay, so you're 23 here. Was that just kind of was that just happenstance? It's like, okay, that's a number
Yeah.
available. So
Coach Woodard told me 23 is available, and I said, okay, as long as I get a jersey.
It's a good number. My favorite player when I was a kid played first base. He had number 23 as well, Don Mattingly. He's
Yeah,
pretty good with the glove and the bat.
just a little bit, yeah.
So yeah. Hopefully he'll play like Don Mattingly over
Yeah,
there with 23.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
maybe that's what Woody had in mind.
Yeah. Well, can't help but think of that. So
It's a good point. Well, I hadn't thought of that, but you're a Yankees guy. You and Mark Cologne would have thought of that,
right.
and Drew. We have some Yankees people hanging around.
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. So, all right. So we always ask people because we did touch on your academics.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, anytime you're talking to ball players, everybody wants that opportunity to continue their baseball career beyond the college level.
Absolutely.
So that's why we don't ask you what you want to do after baseball, because that's the answer that comes back is want to keep playing baseball. Absolutely. So the way we word it is, after your baseball career, whenever that happens to wind down, what do you see yourself doing? Whether you're 25 or 45, what do you see yourself doing?
Well, I'd like to win the lottery. That'd be nice.
Do you? Well, actually, that's interesting you bring that up because I've thought about that too.
Don't go banking on it, though.
Well, have you ever bought a lottery ticket? I have not.
I have not,
I've
no.
not bought one. I think that's got something to do with why I haven't won.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
If I want to win the lottery, I might need to start buying them. So I don't know. I've been thinking about that. So so your plan is to finish playing baseball at some point and then start buying lottery tickets.
Yeah, something like that. No, I'd actually. No, I think I've set myself up pretty nice academically to have a nice career. I'd like to stay in collegiate sports just because, I mean, I have a familiarity with it. And I enjoy it. Like, I love the camaraderie of a team. I love working with the guys. And so I've set myself up to get my master's in kinesiology and hopefully be a strength and conditioning coach at the collegiate level.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Keep you active and keep you in the game.
Exactly, yeah.
And if you win the lottery, there's no reason that you have to quit work.
Exactly.
I mean, they say that's one of the worst things you can do is if you win the lottery, people just go and quit their job, and then that's where their problems start. So see, you could win the lottery and be a strength coach.
Yeah.
You might wind up back.
Part-time, travel a lot.
Hey, you could wind up on the show again one day as strength coach being interviewed. I mean,
That would be cool.
and then producer Brad will have to go back and get clips of this and bring them forward.
Yeah.
Producer Brad, mark this tape. Mark this tape so we can find it again. All right, so we're gonna let you run, Josh. You've been very generous with us and your time. We're thinking, grad school. You've probably got some homework.
It's spring break, but yes, I do.
That's true. It is spring break, but you using that to catch up on some stuff.
I am, yeah.
That's kind of an interesting thing. Or with I hadn't thought about that angle of it with academically. They offer some of those grad classes during the day, or they tend to be more at night?
They're more at night.
More at night,
So
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's kind of tough. You got to schedule it around practice and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's not as easy as undergrad, but
Yeah, you may miss a few classes because of games and stuff.
yeah. Well, I'm okay with that.
So, as a first-year student here and a four-year transfer, what's your living situation like with who you living with on the team?
I'm living with Will Lancaster, Quentin Martinez, and Tony Rossi.
Oh, nice.
Pitchers.
Yeah.
How's that going living with
It
pitchers?
makes
some
a
lefties in
very
there.
interesting dynamic as a room.
You got some
So,
lefties in that place.
Yeah.
So.
So I feel like I know what's going around the pitchers, and then I get here and I get to hang around the position players, so I just understand what's going on with everybody.
Yeah,
It's
that's
kind of unique.
You get to see both sides of everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is the grapevine different from the pitchers to the position players? Like there's different chatter and different.
Well, I mean, they do different things at different days. So some guy will come home and be like, "Oh, my arm's so sore. We threw a lot today," and I'll be like, "Yeah, we didn't really throw that much. So sorry about it."
Well, you've always got somebody to throw you BP, I guess. if you-
Exactly. Yeah. Well, actually, no, they don't throw a good VP.
Oh.
They just throw it hard.
Yeah, because they're trying to get people. They're
Yeah.
wired to
Yeah,
get people out.
You got too many lefty-lefty matchups.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, Josh, we're gonna let you go, man. This has been fun. We appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
We're gonna switch out. We're gonna get Josh on his way to do his homework. Bring Coach Simmons in here. Producer Brad, I guess you can just sit back and enjoy these words from our sponsors. All right, we are back. Made our little Clark Kent Batman, or Clark Kent Superman change out here. We got Coach Tyler Simmons coming in here. Now, Tyler's going to tell us a story here, but before I do that, I got to get all this out because I wrote it down. This is Tyler Simmons, who is Director of Player Development, Catching Coordinator, and Director of On-Campus Recruiting. What's up, Tyler?
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Does all that fit on a business card?
It does not. It does not. But you gotta flip it front and back. I get the front and back.
Two-sided card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've heard you do it all here, so yeah, I'd expect you to have a two-sided business card.
All right, so Tyler came while we were making the change out. He said, "I've got a great story, or I've got a story about that play that we were discussing with Josh that he made the throw to home plate." So let's lead with that as a segue here, Tyler. What happened after Josh made the play to home plate?
Yeah, so just kind of to set the stage, we've got infield in. Ball gets smoked to Josh's glove side, and he makes a really nice kind of turn sliding play, and with a turn to the plate. To finish the inning, delivers a strike to the plate, and he comes in the dugout, and I meet him there by the bench, by the bat rack as he's getting ready. And I look at him and said, "Hey, man, that's a heck of a play. Great job." And he looks at me dead in the face and goes, "I thought that was routine." And I was like, "Well, maybe for you. Yeah, I think that was absolutely routine. But I said, any of us, I don't know if we have a shot getting there." So just kind of speaks to a testament to his glove skills.
Right. Yeah.
He's an elite first baseman.
That was kind of our first glimpse of him in game action as far as since he's been back, and yeah, that was anything but routine in my book, at least.
I didn't see anything routine about that.
Man, it was, and getting to see him do it all fall, you kind of expect those plays, but with that answer, I was like, yeah, you're probably right, Josh. For you, that was a routine play.
Yeah, I mean, he was almost halfway between first and second.
Yeah, I mean, it was a step and a crossover and a slide. I mean,
and then he turned his whole body to throw it.
Yeah,
a strike to home plate.
Yeah, and being a left-hander, that's not the easiest way to manipulate your body to get the ball to the plate there.
Yeah, and the runner was going on the pitch. So impressive to get that guy at the plate.
It's one of those plays you can watch in your head over and over because it was a nice play and very smooth.
Absolutely. So we're gonna talk about kind of the week that was and look forward to the App State series. But since this is our first time being on here with us, we just want to talk about give folks a chance to get to know you a little better first. So you're a Charlotte guy, and not only a Charlotte guy, but really a city of Charlotte baseball guy. I mean, you're from a baseball family, playing all your baseball here in the area of Charlotte Christian, and then on to Wingate. Then you've been here. You've been here since sixth season. So just talk a little bit about your baseball life and your career, and let folks hear who Tyler Simmons is a little bit.
When and Coach Bicknell says it all the time, but I was truly raised on a baseball field.
Mm-hmm.
My dad played at Liberty University, was a graduate assistant there for 1 year, and then him and my mom moved to Charlotte, and he became the head baseball coach at Charlotte Christian. He's been there now for, I think, 32 years, so 30-plus years there. Myself, Coach Bicknell, J.D. Suarez, all played from Charlotte. We've also had Reese Hampton and some other guys from the Charlotte Christian kind of stock come through here. So getting to grow up around him, watching him coach. I mean, Coach Bicknell tells stories all the time of me being a young kid running through the ballpark and him saying, "Man, that kid's never going to have all of his fingers," because we'd be hanging behind the plate with our fingers through the chain link fence. So it's funny to hear those stories, and we just dirt-covered faces. And a lot of people don't know, but our house growing up was on the Charlotte Christian campus. It was recently torn down to make parking after my parents moved out, but I could throw a baseball from my house to the baseball field. So grew up, Saturdays we rode on the Gator with Dad, dragging the fields. I learned how to rake a lip of a baseball field before I could ride a bike. So growing up in that type of environment was really fun and really fortunate, getting to be with my dad throughout it all. I mean, I remember in lower school when Charlotte Christian was playing on the road, he would get me out of school and I'm an 8-year-old kid sitting in the backstop running the radar gun. I remember Daniel. I remember this story like it was yesterday. Daniel Bard, who went on to play at Carolina and now plays for the Rockies, is on the bump, and I'm working the radar gun, and we're at Charlotte Christian, and Daniel's pitching, and I'm this little bitty kid with the old massive radar gun, and I've got probably 20 plus major league and college scouts behind me, and I'm just sitting there with the radar gun, and he would boom 92, and I would chart it. And I started pro scouts would tap me on the shoulder, but hey, what did you get on that one? And I would turn around and show them the radar gun. They'd be, okay, I just want to make sure we're getting the right thing. So I remember that like it was yesterday. I remember getting out of class, and my classmates would be jealous that I'm getting out of class at 2:00 to load the bus with these high school kids to drive across country to Ravenscroft or Wesleyan or wherever to go to a baseball game. And then when the state championships would roll around, we'd get out of class for like 3 days to go watch the team play in the championship. And we grew up as the Bat Boys, and then we moved on to the radar guns, and then ultimately moved on to playing for him, which is a special opportunity. Got to play for him my 2 years on varsity, and then my last year on varsity, my middle brother Matt, who played at Gardner Webb, we were on the same team together. So that's pretty special. And then now it was March 3rd. I took JT, who's our newest addition to the family, took him back to a Charlotte Christian game. And my dad gave him the Simmons family baseball baptism, which is where he takes the grandson to the plate meeting with him. He's done it with all the grandsons, so this time, and granddaughters. He's got one granddaughter and 3 grandsons, and this time it was JT's. And where one of the players sent me a picture, and Coach Miney put in our group chat of no context college baseball. Took the picture and tweeted it out, so we kind of went viral there for a few days, which is pretty funny. But growing up in the Charlotte area, baseball is a very strong tradition in the area. Went on to play at Wingate University, which is not too far outside of Charlotte. Played 5 years there, was redshirted my first year. We had some success there. They recently just won national championship. Coach Gregory there has done a tremendous job with the program. He's still one of my biggest mentors now. We keep in touch, and he's a close friend to myself and my family. And then getting the opportunity to come back to here as the volunteer assistant, and now as the long titles you listed off. But it's special getting to live. I live in Matthews now. I live 5 minutes from Charlotte Christian. I live 5 minutes from my parents' neighborhood. I live 20 minutes from my brother, and then my youngest brother lives in Raleigh. So Christmases and holidays are very easy. Everyone just kind of comes into Charlotte, and we get to hang out. But getting to grow up in the Charlotte area, reading about Coach Woodard. Coach Woodard actually coached. He actually was the pitching coach at Country Day when I was at Charlotte Christian. He called pitches against me before he left there, which is actually pretty neat. We talk about that quite a bit. Actually came up today during BP how I had one side of the field, and that was all pull. We were doing a get me over round at BP today, and I said, yeah, I was 100% like a left-handed 10. Just put everyone on that side of the field. That was the get me over round was my favorite round, because that was really all I could do was pull the baseball. But getting the opportunity to be sitting in this chair tonight with you guys, coaching at Charlotte, it's a true blessing.
You've really, you continue to, it's not just you, like you said, it's your family. It's a baseball life.
It is, and now having a son of my own, he comes to the ball games, all the guys, they get to interact with him. They, Celeste and JT, they made the trip down to South Florida. So I had JT down in the team meeting room one night where while the guys are doing some treatments and we're just hanging out, they're making funny faces at him. It's pretty funny to see these tough grown men turn into just cups of soup around these babies, and it's goo eyes, and they're making funny faces, doing everything they can to get them to grin and laugh, and that's a special moment when you're sitting in there and you've got Will Butcher and you've got AJ Wilson and you've got Caden Hops and all these guys who are these tough young men when they're on the baseball field and they're just melting at the sight of this little baby. It's pretty neat.
That's awesome. JT came by the tailgate a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
He was showing off his baseball onesie.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a big hit. That was a big hit. It was serious. I mean, it was like that's a baseball outfit.
Yeah,
And he was,
Celeste does a great job with the game day outfit rotations.
well, and to that, and she's gonna think we're sucking up to her, but I mean, your wife Celeste, she's a baseball wife.
Yeah, she's a rock
I
star.
mean, she gets it.
Yeah, it's not easy to be a baseball wife, especially when the spring rolls around. It's leave the house at 7 a.m. and it's not coming home till 9 p.m. and dinner's at 9. So the spring is not easy, but we've been together since high school. We were together all through college baseball, and then she was with me early in my career, and she understands it and she gets it. And when you're a baseball coach, and that's one of the biggest keys to success is having a wife that understands it and is in the dugout with you, basically.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So, talk a little bit about your just briefly your playing career. So you played collegiately at Wingate. Talk a little bit about break down Tyler Simmons' college baseball career.
It's certainly nothing to brag about, that's for sure. But I was fortunate to play at like I said, Wingate University, and I played with some really outstanding guys. A lot of them. I think I had 12 guys in my wedding, and every single one of them were Wingate baseball alums. They're my closest friends. A lot of them living here in Charlotte or the surrounding areas now, but went to Wingate as a catcher. Got redshirted my freshman year. Basically just wasn't good enough, and wasn't where I needed to be. Fortunately, Coach Gregory must have saw some value in me versus because he redshirted me versus cutting ties, which he could have easily done. But, he always believed in me, and I think that's kind of helped me to be who I am today, especially coaching these guys. Even if a guy has a bad year, a bad day, a bad whatever, there's something of value there with those guys. And but went on to play. I caught for 3 years. In my last year, I played first. We won a conference regular season, won a conference tournament, played in a regional. But it's certainly nothing to brag about. I think I maybe had 1 year where I hit over 300. So I think that was my last year. Was probably my best year. I think I maybe had 5 home runs, but every year was fun, and some of my strongest friendships come from that. It's something we talk about today with the guys. When you think about your past playing career, you don't think about the games. You don't really think about the practices. You think about sitting in the dorm room after a practice or a game or going out to dinner and just really kind of like what Madol alluded to was the camaraderie you have with those guys. Mm-hmm. And that's what you miss the most. Yeah. And very fortunate to create some very strong relationships there and have carried into some of my best friends today.
So it would be impossible to overstate the importance of your role here with the staff because you do so many different things. But what I think people don't necessarily always know about the coaching profession is just how people, how you have to sort of get in at the bottom and work your way up. And you came here as a volunteer assistant. Mm-hmm. And I mean, whenever, doesn't matter who you're talking to. The one thing that always comes up when people talk about you is your work ethic and you're a grinder. I remember when Coach Woodard was talking to us, Kevin, about putting together his staff. I think he called you.
He did.
And you answered, and you were on the field.
Yeah, I was.
And it was like 9:30 at night or something like that.
Working a camp, yeah.
Working a camp.
It was the last game. The last game was, and it was in the middle of the last game. I think we had some weather delays, so everything got pushed back that day or whatever. But he called me and he asked me what I was doing. I was like, I'm working team camp out here.
Now, I don't want to misstep or misspeak here, but at that particular time, you're getting that phone call. I mean, you're kind of hanging out there, right? I mean, well, I don't know another way to say it. You don't have a job. You're working camp, but you're like, well, I don't really know what's happening after this.
Right. There's a lot of things kind of in limbo at that time.
And your phone rings, and it's Woody, and it goes from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And
now you have a 2-sided business card.
It does, you know, and it's pretty funny how fast things can change.
Coach, you work a lot with the catchers here. We have 4 young catchers on the roster this year. A lot of promise with all 4 that we've seen through the fall and through the young season this spring. Talk a little bit about working with those guys every day and what you see from your point of view.
You know, the catching position is a special position because you can't have all your screws screws tightened to be a catcher.
I was just thinking you've got to be a little crazy.
You've got to have a few screws loose because not too many guys want to sign up for the position where you are going to get hit, and it never hits the padding. But you know, it never does.
No matter where you have the padding, it always
These guys they get outfitted with some of the top of the line equipment, and every time they get a foul ball, it never bounces off the equipment. But at the core, you know, we've got 4 really good catchers at our core. We've got Caden Hobson, who came to us from the portal from Arizona. We've got Huck Wathen, who's a local kid from Country Day, and then we've got Jocko Koneski, who's a junior college kid, and we've got Drew Tyndall, who's a North Carolina kid as well, who is a really athletic kid that's kind of starting to come into it. But as a whole, you know, I love the group we have of catchers, and I think it's a very strong group. And it's a lot of fun to step back and watch those guys work. They're the type of guys that, like during practice today, like we're doing things, and it's like, hey, you guys are on your own today. And just stepping back and watching those guys lead themselves through back picks or blocking recovers or whatever they want to go through that day, and take ownership and take pride in their craft. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Kind of compared the position of catcher, sort of like middle linebacker in you know, football. It's the guy that's on the field that kind of has to know what everybody else is doing. Some of my favorite things, one of my favorite things to do is to watch a game with somebody that's played catcher.
Right.
Because they see stuff that
They pick up on things that you may not necessarily know. Like when you're watching a game with a catcher from the stands, they'll probably tap you on the shoulder like, hey, that guy's about to steal. And you're like, how does he know that? Well, he hasn't twitched at all, and now he's twitching. Or you'll sit there with a catcher and be like, this pitcher's done. How do you know? Well, you can see his heart rate's up and he's sweating profusely. Like there's different things that catchers pick up, and a lot of it is because the view they have. And truthfully, I mean, catchers have their hands in every aspect of the game. They have their hands in the pitching side, the defensive side, the run control side. So our catchers, I mean, they sit in offensive meetings, they sit in catchers meetings, they sit in pitchers meetings, they sit in all of them. So they really kind of have a full idea of what's happening on the field at all times.
And just as the cherry on top, I mean, Crash Davis has most of the good lines in Bull Durham, doesn't he? I mean, he doesn't have them all, but he has a lot of them.
He does. You know, he's hands down my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh well, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's no question. And the fact that he's a catcher it just makes it all better.
Yeah. So did you? You know, at what point? How old were you when you first became a catcher? How old were you when you?
So my catching story is funny. And I'll share that with you guys, but
we won't tell anyone.
I was the kid in Little League where the coach brought the burlap sack out to the field, threw the gear on the field, and was like, "Hey, who wants to play?" I was like, "I do," and they're like, "All right, well, you have to catch." And I was like, "Okay, I'll catch," and then it just kind of continued to happen, and it just kind of fell in love with the position. It was just one of those things where I never really learned a second position because I always wanted to catch. I remember growing up, and I remember my dad we were in high school, and he goes, hey, I'm sorry you never learned a secondary position. And I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't know that a secondary position was important at all.
You didn't know other people did that.
It was like, okay, well, the shortstop's the shortstop. He doesn't know how to play anything different. But so we started experimenting at first, and that went okay. I was able to play it at a college level, at a decent level. But I was just a kid that I wanted to play in every game, and whenever the coach asked, hey, who wants to catch and you'll play, I was like, yeah, I'll do it, because not too many kids wanted to catch.
Some kids go the other way.
Yeah, they're like, no. And then I played at Mara Matthews Recreation Association, and my brother played there too. And when I got done playing there, the coach that I played for tried the experiment with my brother as well, and it didn't go very well because he'd catch the ball and look the opposite way. And after 3 games, him getting hit in the back of the head on a foul ball, I was like, yeah, this probably isn't gonna work out real well with him. So, but yeah, it's not something I showed up to the ballpark my first day, and I was like, I want to be a catcher. And I was the typical young kid that wanted to be the shortstop and the pitcher and hit leadoff, but wanted to play. So I always grabbed the catching gear and was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Maddie played catcher in her
Yeah.
illustrious softball
Yeah.
career. Well, she was one of the kind of the same way you said. She was when she started catching, she was like one of the only girls on the team that wasn't afraid of the ball.
Yeah.
So
And it's
just wound up behind the plate.
It's amazing how much the position has changed just since I got done playing. It's total the way we teach receiving, the way we talk about catching, the way catchers are utilized and prioritized now is just completely different.
Yeah, much more valuable as far as
Yeah, and I think
you're not
and-
just back there catching the ball. You're
Yeah.
actually working the strike
100%.
zone.
We
and
call it manipulating the baseball. We want to manipulate the baseball, so
Framing.
the guy behind us we want to manipulate it so that it looks like a strike whenever he sees it. But I remember growing up, it was just catch it where it's pitched. Even in college a little bit, it was like catch it where it's pitched.
Don't let it past you.
Yeah, like catch it straight out. You're going to turn your glove. You're going to catch the outside part of the baseball, and it's completely different. And data collection has been kind of a large leader of that.
Yeah, it's a science now. It's
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I remember growing up. I mean, you had guys like Piazza behind the plate who caught the baseball and kind of threw guys out, but he hit tanks and he hit for high average. And now you've got guys back there who are career 230 hitters that are going to be in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, their value is behind the plate.
Yeah, because of the amount of pitches they steal, they control the running game, and everything they do that has nothing to do with their offense. They're going to be Hall of Famers, and it has nothing to do with their bat. I mean, Yadier Molina is a great example of that. I mean, when you think of Yadier Molina, no one ever thinks of Yadi with a bat in his hand. They think of him behind the plate.
Right.
Same thing with Salvador Perez and so many other catchers. It's like those guys are going to be in the Hall of Fame because of what they do behind the plate.
Remember listening to these guys talk. It's just been a couple years, and somebody started talking about, oh yeah, well, what's his pop time?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to play along like I know what's going on, but I'm actually on my phone Googling pop time. What is that? It's catching. It's a science.
It certainly is, and like I said, it's a special position because you can't have all your screws fully screwed in to do it. It takes a special person for sure.
You got to be tough, that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, these guys they get banged up throughout the course of a game.
Right.
So let's talk a little baseball.
Okay.
A little more recent baseball. About that. So last weekend, big 3-game series. Western Illinois comes in here, and we talked about it beforehand. We're not going to get too deep in the stats, because if we start listing off impressive stats from this weekend, we're going to be here for a while, offensive and defensively. But big weekend, Niners get the sweep, and it's worth noting that what we would think of as the lineup that we really are trying to get in the game was finally together on Saturday, and the result was how many runs was it, Kevin?
They scored 49 runs.
Well, 49 runs over 2 days.
So the game notes.
Oh yeah, 49 runs over the weekend, 29 of them on Saturday. So, like, fill us in. Tell us what happened last weekend, Tyler. How'd this go down?
And you alluded to it. The lineup was kind of clicking on all cylinders. The guys were seeing the ball well. It was really good to see Josh McDowell back in the lineup. Getting I write the when Coach Woodard brings the lineup card down, I'm kind of the lineup card guy. So I'll write the lineups in after he kind of solidifies them. So once we get the box scores and everything, or the pregame sheet that Joe brings us, I'll write it on the game card, and it felt really good to write Josh Madole's name in the lineup and see those guys do what they did. It was a lot of fun.
So when we see those lineup cards displayed in various places, or a guy gets like kind of, I don't know if you want to call it player of the game, but he gets the lineup card. That's your handwriting.
So typically how it works is Coach Woodard will write our side in. If he gets the lineup in time, he'll write the opposing side in. But if not, I'll write the opposing side in, and then the changes throughout the game, that's my handwriting.
There you go.
I feel like that's you just learn. People just learned something right there. I
Yeah,
just learned something.
yeah. And I actually, when I first got the job, Coach Woodard was like, "Hey, you're going to kind of be the bench coach," and I don't know even if he knows this, but he was like, "Yeah, you're going to be kind of the bench coach in charge of the lineup card," and I was like, "Okay." So I spent like 2 hours at night researching MLB lineup cards and like what the dots mean and how they keep track of who made the last out. And Joe Madden actually there's a pretty good article on Joe Madden and his lineup card, which I've read probably a few times at this point, and I researched a lot of different MLB cards and how those bench coaches in the MLB manage the game card. So that helped me out a lot.
We'll have to find that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
'Cause, you look at the lineup cards, and there's Jimmy Touchstone said it. They tell a story.
They do, and there's some games I know. The Saturday game, there was a lot going on in it. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of substitutions, and it's something fun. Coach Bicknell kind of kids around all the time. He'll get near the lineup card, and then I'll be coming to write something. Goes, oh, sorry, I'm in your way for your lineup card. I'll move.
That's very interesting because I mean I know this, and he's sitting over there pretending like we're not talking about him, but I mean Woody views lineup cards as like they're like works of art.
Yeah. And ever since we started giving them out to the guys, you take pride in every letter you write, because it's like, hey, the plan is for us to win, and the plan is to give this to somebody, and they're going to frame it and have it in their office or living room or man cave one day, and they're ultimately going to get asked about it. Hey, what is this? And you're exactly right. They tell a story. They tell a story 100%, because they're going to look back at that lineup card, and they're going to remember that day, and they're going to be able to go through every at bat, every pitcher that came into the game. So it's unique, and I don't know of any other teams that do it. I'm sure there's some other teams that do it. I know they do it at the big league level. They give it to fans or players on significant nights. So I think it's something. It's a really unique tradition we have here, and the guys love it.
Yeah, it's really cool. We ran into Michael O in the parking lot last weekend, and he was carrying lineup cards.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I just say
I know we got sidetracked. We can
No,
get back to
that's
the game.
awesome. That's what we love doing. So as far as last weekend goes, a couple of things. We again, multiple stories coming out of the weekend. One of them I thought was the fact that Will Lancaster went from leaving the game early the weekend before to coming back on Sunday, and he pitched a gem on Sunday. So we were all tweeted something about it. We were, rewind a week back, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, is Will okay? And now last weekend we were going, are the batters okay? And the answer was probably not.
Yeah, and I think that's a true testament to Will and the type of resiliency he has. When he went down, he came in the dugout. I usually like to give them their time, if they come out of the game, especially for something, a rolled ankle or whatever. And I went to him at the end of the game, and after I talked to him, I was like, yeah, he's pitching next weekend. Nothing's going to keep him off the mound. And, man, he came out, and you're exactly right. He pitched an absolute beautiful game.
So, and I'm going to give you a chance to talk about the catchers here in a second, but one thought I was having today is we were kind of doing some prep work here. The folks that follow the team know we have so many guys that can get the job done, and for obvious reasons, we end up talking about a lot of guys kind of over and over again because they make you talk about them. But let's just take a minute, Kevin, and just can we just have like a Jack Dragum appreciation moment here,
Man.
because this dude, he kind of like what you were saying with Josh. He's so the routine plays. He's so good at what he does that you almost take it for granted. It almost disappears what he's doing when you realize the one play he made that was Purdue, the Purdue game last week. One way he played, I'm still thinking about it. He was behind Furman at third, going away from the bag. He not only makes the play, Gardner Webb, you're right, and he made this play over here. And I mean, he makes. That was one of the spectacular plays that he made. But there's any number of plays that he makes on a game basis out here at short that he just makes it look easy.
Yeah. I keep a chart of opposing team sprays, and I find myself a lot of time going ahead and writing 6-3 down before the play even is done, because he's just that type of player. You know, it's just like, okay, it's hit the jack, it's going to get made.
Right. And then on the other end, offensively, hell, this Saturday he outscored Western Illinois on his own 5-4. So he had a heck of a day at the plate. Been hit the ball well this season,
including a grand slam.
Grand slam. What he's got, batting .341 on the season, with 9 ribbies so far. So doing it on both sides of the field.
he was hot that day. I think it was like every time he stepped from the box, it was like, all right, something cool's going to happen here.
Yeah,
he's going to hit the ball really hard somewhere.
I was just thinking about that today. Is like, kind of getting ready for the show. It's like, we just need to have a Jack Dragum moment on the show. I mean, and wherever Ginger's at out there, Ginger always likes everything on Twitter, especially if it's related to Jack Dragum. So there you go. There's our Jack Dragum appreciation moment. I mean, dude had he's having a season so far. And this will be kind of tied into where your area of expertise, but we saw and we've talked and coming into the season about Caden Hobson and what he was doing and what he was bringing to the table and catching in Omaha. But in addition to Caden, we're kind of in seems like we're kind of in a 2-catcher situation now, because Huck Wathen is kind of come out of the dugout and well, he kind of refuses to be denied a little bit. I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that process, because he has certainly come on.
Yeah, Huck's another. I know he wasn't born and raised in Charlotte, but he's been here long enough to be considered a local, and he comes from deep baseball roots as well.
Mm-hmm.
His dad being a big league coach, and Huck spending a lot of time growing up catching in spring training and going with his dad to games and those practices. So he's another kid on the team that has grown up around the game, truly been immersed in baseball his whole life. And the really cool thing about Huck is, as a freshman, starting a game is never easy. Going into a game for your first game, a lot of times it's like you have to remind them, hey, you've done this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be okay. And I remember when Huck got his first nod, and I was just told Huck, and I said, hey, you've been playing the game for a long time. He goes, I'm good. I said, all right, man, let's roll. And so we went down to the bullpen, and he knocked out his kind of pregame catching routine that each of our catchers have kind of set for themselves. Just kind of watched them execute that, and talk to them pregame about any questions they have about their lineup, whether it's where in their lineup are the runners, who are the bunters. But Huck was ready to go. And I think the fall was really tremendous for him. I know he kind of got banged up there in the fall for a little bit, but being able to be around Caden and being around the group of catchers that we have, mm-hmm. they a lot of times when they're doing their drills and they're executing the daily plan, it's kind of open discussion. I kind of stand back and just let them go. And I think it's been really good, because guys are able to hear what Huck has to say, or what Caden has to say, or Jocko, or Drew, and they all kind of bring a lot of things to the table, and we're able to just kind of mesh it into the style of play you're seeing on the field now. But Huck can do a lot of things really well. He's got a bazooka behind the plate. He throws the ball really well, and he's been a lot of fun to coach and work with.
fun weekend of baseball at the Hayes, Kevin, and continued on into Tuesday with Longwood, another Niner victory, won that one 8-4. Kind of a theme going. It feels like the boys are kind of getting it together and kind of getting clicking here at the right time.
Kind of getting in a routine, going into week 4 here. Had a couple weeks of midweeks, and now that they're in spring break, so they're getting a little downtime.
Yeah.
They just get to play ball.
That's right. That's right. It's the best part of the year, besides until we get to the end of the year when classes are completely done.
Yeah.
So we got a big weekend coming up, playing uptown at Truist against App State, and then coming to the Hayes for 2 more. Talk a little bit about what we can look for from the series this weekend.
Well, first off, I mean, getting to play at Truist is pretty awesome. It's a 20-minute bus ride uptown, and you get to play in arguably the best minor league ballpark in the country with, like what you said, the second best backdrop to the Hayes. But I remember my first time going to Truist, and it was one of the first ballparks I've ever walked into and been, like, awestruck. I've been to Knights games before, but when you walk out of the tunnel onto the field, it's got a little bit of a different feeling. It's always pretty cool when we hit BP. Typically, the sun is out. With the 6 o'clock start, we usually hit BP I think around 3 o'clock, so the sun's out. Then our guys, they'll go back in for like a pregame meal that the Knights supply for us, and when we come back out to get ready for IO, it's kind of that dusk, and the sun's hitting off the buildings back there, and you're like, wow, I could get used to being a minor leaguer playing in Charlotte. I'd probably just be like, hey, I'll be a career AAA ball player. I'll be fine.
You are not the first person to say that.
Yeah, like I mean,
we've had some actual minor leaguers say
yeah,
that.
out of all the minor league locations across the country, it's kind of like cream of the crop if you get to go to Charlotte. You're like, yeah, this is pretty good being compared to being in the middle of nowhere, wherever. But also then we get to go back. Then we get to come back to the Hayes for 2 games. Continuing the homestand we've had, which has been awesome. Fans have been great. The student section has been awesome. Shout out to the student section. You guys have been crushing it. Hope you guys will be out here again this weekend. I know we've missed you guys on spring break, but I think the guys are ready. The guys are ready to play. They're ready to rock and roll. We've got a lot of guys that are going uptown for the first time, and then we've got guys like Colby Bruce and Matt Brooks that are going back for their 80th time. So it's you get a little bit of everything. So we've got
Colby and Matt played at Crockett Park, didn't they?
Man, they're the definition of super seniors. So it's pretty cool. Those guys getting to go back there one last time, and then you've got a good handful and group of guys that are getting to go there for the first time. So it'll be a lot of fun. I know anytime you play at Uptown, both sides of the ball, teams are ready to go. It's just kind of that. It's got a little bit of a different feeling to it. So we're gonna get App's best. Our guys are gonna rock and roll, and looking forward to a great night at Truist. And then same thing at the Hayes. We tell the guys all the time, hey, you're gonna get every team's best. And I'm sure App State's gonna come in here, and we're gonna get their best. And I know our guys they're up to the challenge.
I just want to take a moment to apologize to Matt and Colby. Those eventually we will get tired of making those old jokes, but we haven't yet. So I don't know when we'll get tired of them. At some point they won't be funny anymore, but they still are. So we're going to keep going. Well, sorry.
Yeah, this is it's hard to believe, but this is the last weekend of out of conference games before Conference USA baseball starts up next weekend.
Happened fast.
It did.
It's amazing how the season flies when it gets here. There's all this lead up time to it, and the fall, and then you get the preseason, and I swear the longest period of time is when you get back from Christmas break until opening day. You feel like it's like months and months, but then the season starts.
Yeah, we feel the same way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the season starts, and it's like, I swear we were just in Florida last weekend.
Yeah.
So it's amazing. It's amazing how fast it gets going.
Right. So yeah, definitely a good tune up for conference play. We played some good teams out of conference in our pre-conference schedule. I think the Niners will be battle tested going into conference play.
For sure. I know we're not looking too far ahead, but we're looking forward to conference play. But we got to take care of business this weekend. But it's pretty amazing that conference play is upon us that fast.
Right.
So App's coming in here. I believe have them down for a 5-6 record. They just played UNC Wilmington last weekend. I believe they took that series 2-1.
2-1.
Up in Boone. So they're coming in. They're coming in feeling. They got to be coming in feeling pretty good, getting a series win over UNC Wilmington. So that's including. I think they walked off Wilmington at one point. I think it was they were maybe that was Saturday's game. They were down 11-8 coming into the ninth and ended up taking the W. So. I think what people, as far as fans go, just weekend long, it feels like App has improved their roster some over the off season. So what we've seen in years past. So it's going to be another battle this weekend. So all that is to say, fans, we're really going to need you, students, alumni, just baseball fans, whatever. Put some green on. And get out here. I think this is usually where I say 704-687-4949 or charlotte49ers.com. However, Friday you need to go to what is their website? Is
Knights Baseball.
Knights Baseball.
Good. Charlotte Knights.
Google Charlotte Knights. Go to their website and get some tickets and come on out. Friday's looking the weather for Friday going to be a little crisp, but Friday's looking much better from a rain standpoint.
Yeah, it's looking nice. I think this will be in the mid to low 60s, probably low 60s when game time starts. But
bring yourself a jacket.
Yeah,
You'll be
we'll take
fine.
it. We'll take it. It's going to be a good night.
And they're bringing the World Series trophy. The Braves are bringing the World Series trophy that night
right.
to the a part of their trophy tour.
See, and there's so many Braves fans in the area, and I grew up a Braves fan, but in way back, but basically was like everybody else because of TBS. But I don't have that when they won it's not them, it's me. When they won, I just don't.
Yeah, It
didn't do it for me. I wasn't really into them at this point.
I've never seen a World Series trophy in person like that, so I'm gonna look forward to that.
Oh, I'm down for that. We're definitely gonna go see that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I know the Hills are coming, and they're gonna be in Niner gear, but they're bringing Braves stuff to put on to get their picture made with the trophy. That's,
two of our managers, Ethan Kurtz and Bowman, they're two really big Braves fans, so they're going to be excited for that.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, it's interesting. I didn't know. I guess I really never thought of that. I'm familiar with the Stanley Cup travels.
Mm-hmm.
I never really thought about them doing that with the World Series.
I had no idea.
I think this might be something new. I don't.
I mean, hey, I'm here for it. We're gonna go. We're gonna go out and see the trophy. So, folks, get out there. Come see the Niners. Come see the World Series trophy. Come and be ready to bring your will to win, is what he says, because we're gonna need it all weekend long. All right, Coach. We promised you the last word spot and told you could talk about anything you wanted to. You could say hello to your wife, your family, whatever you want to talk about. What's on Coach Simmons' mind as we get ready to close this out?
I'm going to give my shout out back to the student section. They've been great. Would love to see a strong showing of the Charlotte students out at the Uptown game. I know we're going to have quite a bit of alumni, Charlotte baseball alumni out there. I know a few of them already reached out to me, let me know they're going to be there. But for the Hayes, and when we come back Saturday, Sunday, would love to see the student section back in action over there next to the dugout and bringing the energy and creating the Hayes magic for us.
I'm ready for it. This is one of the. Kevin and I have been talking about this series for a while, just because of the in-state nature, and I'm sure they'll bring some folks out, and particularly on Friday night, and it'll be a good night for baseball here in Charlotte.
Sure.
But let's do it. All right, folks, we're out of time this week. Look for this podcast wherever you find your podcast, and make sure to subscribe to be notified of new content. You can also find Diamond Niner Report on social media, as always, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but never TikTok. Reach out anytime you'd like. We love hearing from you, folks. If you're old-fashioned like us, just say hello at the ballpark. For Kevin, producer Brad, Coach Simmons, this has been Nick. We'll see you all first at Truist, but then at the Hayes.